So you're thinking about joining the Marine Corps, and I'm sure you've talked to a recruiter and they've told you everything you need to know, and I'm sure it's all 100%, right?
World travel, physical fitness, confidence.
This video is going to be a reaction to a recruiter video that a channel below did. Looks like he was a probably a Marine now, and the video I'm going to react to what the recruiter's saying that he dealt with. So stand by.
My name is Gunnery Sergeant Mark.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of gunnery sergeants unless they're ahead of the recruiting station.
A point of fact is that we hold higher standards in just about every regard you can have.
Yeah, I would say the standards are higher, especially in physical fitness and weight. I've known some female recruits that ended up going to the Navy because the weight standards are different, even different than the Army. So I'd agree with them. The standards for height, weight are different, as well as your physical fitness are definitely going to be different in the Marine Corps than at least the Navy. And you can check it out. You'll know your service you're applying for. But the Marine Corps definitely has higher standards.
And we tend to attract the better quality individuals. As a service, we put out a message that,
yeah, the Marine Corps prides itself on making something easy hard, I think. That's something I always remember. I think the Marine Corps generals like to do everything on the cheapest budget possible. So if we've done cheap, the Marine Corps is good at it. I don't have a problem with that, but looking back, that was definitely it compared to some of the other services I trained with and did exercises with.
What challenge and difficulty can do for them, and that's a certain kind of mindset, and our service is full of it. I tell young men and women every day that the jobs are the same, with few variances across the services. Generally the jobs are the same. Everybody has all the technical programs, the educational benefits, the healthcare benefits, the pay, all those tangible things are the same. I think where we're a little separate is the intangible things, how we develop and shape the individual.
Yeah, I'd say the Marine Corps boot camp is definitely unique among services, and it's gonna train you. You come out as a basic Marine a lot different than that of Army boot camp or Navy typically. Even the guys I've talked to are a member of both services.
You can have all the technical programs in any of the services, but this is one of the few places where I think it'll fundamentally change you on a human level to be a better person at the military entrance and processing station. That is where applicants go to basically find out if they're qualified. Their first day should be an early day. You're going to take the ASVAB that evening.
Yeah, I took the ASVAB far in advance of me going to MEPS, so I'm not sure. Maybe that's new. But I took the ASVAB, I recall, before MEPS. Now, granted, I've been out, that was 30 years ago now.
Morning, they're woken up very early. They're going to be fed breakfast, and they're going to get back on a shuttle bus and go back to MEPS, where they're going to take their medical physical. And that is very much like a sports physical.
Yeah, you will be at MEPS all day. Hurry up and wait, get used to that, be in the military. And it's be different than a sports physical, like he was saying. I mean, you'll do some stuff that really makes no sense even looking back, but you will do quite a bit of stuff to make sure you're not broken before you get in.
A number of tests are going to be performed on you medically down there to find out if you're qualified for military service. And again, if you pass those tests, then and only then will you be eligible to raise your right hand, recite the oath of enlistment, and sign a contract.
And I've known some people who did the ASVAB one time and did terrible, and they doubled their score the second time. And at MEPS, they got grilled about it, like they cheated. So, MEPS are pretty thorough considering, what it is.
And those members in the delayed entry program, their purpose in life, among whatever balances they have in their personal life, is to prepare themselves for recruit training alongside their recruiters. And what we do down here is to make sure, particularly, they meet the physical standards.
Yeah, in the delayed entry program, you can have an outstanding recruiter that really spends once or twice a month, or maybe 4 times a month, is PTing you, getting you prepped, and that's what you want. You should be doing on your own, but that's critical.
Do a minimum of 15 for male applicants. Have to do it.
And again, you don't go with the minimum. If the minimum's 3 pull-ups, be able to do 6. I mean, don't kid yourself. You're gonna be worn out, tired.
Crunches. Male applicants must run a 1.5 miles in 13 minutes and 30 seconds or faster.
And I do sit-ups in the running. I would focus on run, sprint, or jog sprint. You don't need to do miles as much as you need to have dynamic energy, dynamic running ability. It's mostly not the PT, it's just for day-to-day stuff.
and move them beyond those minimum requirements, because any more work that you put in on this side is going to make recruit training for you that much easier. We call it the book of knowledge, things that they...
He's totally right. The more work you put in, it's going to make recruit training one less stressor. You don't need to have a PT problem or a physical problem, get your stuff together, your, MCRD.
Preparation for physical fitness. And the things I like to talk to applicants the most about is your general orders and your rank structure, probably being the two most...
Now, this book is a new thing. Now, granted, I went to boot camp in 1990. I don't know that you just study your general orders. I mean, PT, you should know that stuff. I mean, you better run, swim, pull-ups, sit-ups. I did dips. I skipped the push-ups. If you can dip, you can do push-ups.
That's why they're so important, and that's why Marines are so well versed.
I mean, the academic side of boot camp, unless you're a total rock, should be relatively simple. I mean, if you get flustered under stress, you're not going to know your general orders.
Never been involved with the military or its rank structure. So all these things are things you'll get whenever you pass through MAPS, when you successfully complete the physical and the ASVAB.
I've never seen this book he's speaking about, but I would study that book. If you know that stuff, it would make it a little easier.
Join the delayed entry program and ship to recruit training at the age of 17 with parental consent.
Yeah, I went at 17. I mean, I don't think it matters, 17, 18.
I would say the recruiting process, meaning from the time you walk into my office to the time you are enlisted into the Marine Corps, meaning you've made it through the military entrance and processing station, could be as short as 72 hours, and that would be an extremely short process, but it's doable if everything is together and ready to go.
72 hours would be a push. I don't know anybody. I've heard a week, but 72 hours, and if you're squared away, you're ready to go. Hoorah.
Being required for that person to enlist. All dependent on how quickly you can ship. If you're a high school senior, obviously you're not going to ship until you've graduated from high school. Whereas those graduates that come in and they're physically fit and they're ready to go and they're at a point in their life where they're ready to get out the door to recruit training, that speed can be very fast.
I have to say, this recruiter seems pretty squared away and direct. Now, granted, he's being videotaped.
So asthma in most cases will disqualify you. Now there's a thing called childhood asthma.
Let's speak to waivers. If you got a waiver, medical condition requires a waiver, that's tricky, because when they have cutbacks, that waiver will get pulled and you'll be escorted out. So you can't hide your records at the same time. Something to consider. I knew a guy had asthma, and after the first Gulf War, he was summarily decided they didn't need him anymore. So that could be an issue. Nothing you can do about it, but it's what it is.
Bones, as long as it healed, properly and under normal medical treatment, is not a...
You will have to go these broken bone question to see an orthopedist and get at least probably cleared or have some new x-rays. It's pretty tight on that stuff.
Circumstances, broken bones are not going to disqualify you for anything. Disqualifying things are, psychological issues, depression, anxiety, things like that, along with asthma are the big ones that we see pretty regularly that unfortunately cannot serve in the Marine. The rules and regulations that are in place for what is qualified and not qualified for military service are there, not only for the individual safety, but the safety of an entire...
Yeah, I'd agree. You can't, if you got some weak guys in your platoon, you'll see in boot camp, it's painful, because you will pay. I mean, the platoon will pay, and they try to get some peer pressure in effect, but it's real.
The Marine is both mentally and physically challenging, so we need the individuals that are entering, this branch of service to be as strong as they can, because those things are going to be put to a test as a Marine. What job am I going to do?
Yeah, let me speak to specific MOS in the military. If your scores meet target, and you're good to go medically, as far as eyesight and hearing, you'll get the MOS school, right? But you don't make the school, you'll end up at the needs of the Marine Corps. So that's something to consider. You can't pass the aviation tech school, you may have been supply. So you get the MOS school you apply for, doesn't mean you're going to be working on MOS.
There's no way the Marine Corps is going to make you repair jet engines. Secondly is the physical. The physical that we talk about when you go down there to MEPS can determine what you want to do, and particularly when it comes to hearing and your vision. If you can't hear very well, certain jobs in the communications field may be limited to you. Obviously, if you can't hear what is being broadcast,
Yeah, if you dream about being a scout sniper in the Marine Corps, it used to be, I think you had to have corrected 20/20 vision. I could be wrong. If I am, put the links below, or put the comments below. But it used to be 20/20 corrected, so that's important. I'm sure a lot of other MOSs besides scout sniper.
Third and foremost, being the job availability, meaning are those jobs available that you intend to pursue for the Marine Corps.
This is good stuff here. I'm not familiar with this.
Getting in and seeing a recruiter specifically for those high school seniors as early as possible. As a fiscal year winds down, the job market starts to narrow. All the good jobs go early on in the school year. So if you're a high school senior and this is something you're considering doing, you definitely want to come see a Marine Corps recruiter ASAP, so that we've got time to work with and secure those programs that you're interested in pursuing. For those that want that seamless transition,
yeah, I think the sooner you get to see the recruiter, the better. You know, if you don't know what nowadays, I think you know from YouTube and friends, but you know, definitely consider it long and hard before you sign up, because you know it's a commitment. 4 years of your life, it'll seem like a long time when you're 17, 18. Definitely seems like an eternity when you're in.
While the process starts ASAP. So if you're and that the earliest possible time you can talk to a recruiter with the
yeah. When I was in, they used to take guys with GEDs.
Between your senior and junior year, and I encourage anybody.
From what he's saying, no GEDs anymore. So, you know, I think that would be an expectation across the board. I know there are some variances in the Army years ago where, you know, you could have a GED, but the Marine Corps used to. This was 90 up into 95. I knew somebody who got him a GED.
These days. So for anybody that's listening that is sitting on the fence that thinks the Marine Corps is Plan B for them,
I would say they do get a lot of smart dudes in the Marines. I was shocked when I was in how many guys that were whiz kids and even the infantry with me, you know. So you'll see a variety of total rocks to guys that are just outstanding, smart. Kind of shocks you.
Of education and technical savvy. And so we're not scraping for the bottom of society for people for this to be their only option or a plan. Maximum age would be 27 without any waivers, and those waivers are considered on a case-by-case basis for individuals who are extremely qualified.
Yeah, and I had a guy who was next to me. His first name was Winston. No, last name Winston. And on my left, on the line in boot camp, and he was like a grown, you know, ass man to me. He must have been, I guess, 27 or 28. I don't remember. I know he was up there. And I'm 17-year-old, and he was like a grown man. And it was a shocker. So you get some of those guys that seem like old-timers when you're a young guy out of high school.
This is a young man's game.
Yeah, he's on point here. Guys that are older, it's not just wife and kids. They've been on some psych meds. They've got a criminal problem. Something's messed them up. So that can be problematic. You got to think about that if you're under 18. If you're on psych meds or some kind of ADD meds, that can, you know, you'll explain a lot at MEPS on that. You know, I know people have tried to get in recently and they've had to go through a whole bunch of, you know, psych evals because at one point they're on ADD meds when they were 8.
A family, so you know, things like having a wife and kids can be a dependent factor as to whether or not you can be accepted for enlistment.
Yeah, going into the recruiting office, you'll feel like you're getting hard sold a used car. It used to be that way. You know, I think you go in prepared, watch videos like this, talk to people that are in, you know. That's going to be critical. I mean, there's recruiting offices every time you turn around.
More information about the Marine Corps, and you'll be contacted by a Marine Corps recruiter through that website as well. And again, that's
I agree. Do your homework, but you're not going to know till you're in. I mean, if you got a passion for this, you should do it. If you hate it, at least you say you did it. Take a look at one of my other videos below. It's about reaction to boot camp video. There's comments from guys that graduated from boot camp at 60 up until now. And I don't think anybody looking back regrets doing it. When you're in, there's some times where you go, you know, this sucks, you know. You know, eat the apple, F the core kind of thing. But you guys are thinking about going in. You know, recruiters are trying to get their numbers, right? So they're trying to get bodies enlisted in the Marine Corps. And I don't know if people don't make it. I'm pretty sure if they don't make it, that doesn't help their numbers either. So be prepared. Put your questions below. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you hate it, thumbs down. Comment either way. Share it with your friends and family, whatever on Facebook. It helps the channel. And thanks for watching.